Well, hello, and welcome back to Murfer's Music Reviews. And if you watched last week's episode, you'll know this is a continuation of last week's episode where we talked about one-hit wonders and two-hit terrors. We kind of ran out of time, so we've decided to continue it over this week's episode. So, yes, but before we do that, we must talk about our sponsor. So over to Papa Murph. Hello, Papa Murph here, and today we're going to talk about birds and bees and... Really? I wasn't going to talk about sexual stuff. I mean, actual birds and bees and the whole pollination thing. Well, can I at least do the sponsorship announcement? Oh, good. So I can't talk about the birds and bees, but I can talk about our sponsors. The wonderful Home for the LD Lee, your one-stop shop for all your Laserdisc, HD DVD, and CD needs. And if you go to their website and at checkout put in the code that's on your screen, which is my surname, Murph, you get 20% off of your order. So yes, Home for the LD Lee, the kings of Laserdiscs. Oh, and I have a new hand. Have a look. Well, thank you very much for that, Dad, or Papa Murph, as you know him. And I guess it's now back to me last week. So over to me last week. And for our next band, we head to Buffalo, New York, for a band that was originally called Sex Maggots. But you may know them by their more commercial-sounding name, Goo Goo Dolls. Now, this is probably going to be a little bit contentious for some Americans watching, as I believe they are quite successful in the US, but Todd in the Shadows has covered the Divinals, Midnight Oil, and the Veronicas, all of whom are legends in Australia, so I figured this is kind of retaliation. Now, as you can tell by the fact they were originally called the Sex Maggots, they actually started off as a punk band. And even when they changed the name to Goo Goo Dolls, they still sort of remained fairly punkish. It wasn't until their first single in 1993 that they started developing the sound they would become more known for. Their first single was called We Are the Normal. This didn't chart, nor did the 1995 follow-up, Only One. However, the song after that did chart. In fact, in the US, it got to number 5 on their standard Billboard charts, I guess you call it, number 2 on their pop charts. It actually got to number 64 here in Australia, but I don't remember ever hearing this song before. It got to number 2 in Canada, number 35 in Iceland, and number 43 in New Zealand. Their next single, Naked, got to number 42 in Canada. Long way down, didn't chart anywhere. But then they had some more luck in Canada with their next single, Lazy Eye, which was actually from the Batman and Robin soundtrack. Not the best movie to be associated with. But then they were associated with the movie City of Angels with their next song, which was the hit, which is Iris. Now, this song was huge, and it is a good song. And the movie that it was tied to was also quite successful, and not a great film, but not a terrible film. It's a Nicolas Cage film, so that's pretty much everything you need to know about it. He's a good actor, but you know he does take on some bizarre projects. Although this is fairly mainstream by his standards. So yes, this was a huge hit. And yeah, there's not much else to say about it. I'm going to give it 3 out of 4 opposable thumbs up. Now, the next single, Slide, it didn't chart quite as well everywhere. It still got to number 1 in Canada. And that does seem to be a bit of a trend for them. They seem so far to be bigger in Canada than anywhere else. They've certainly had more hits there. But it did still chart in Australia too at number 29. And I must admit, I do remember hearing this song somewhere. Maybe it was in another film, I'm not sure. It's okay. They followed that up with a song called Dizzy, which did chart in Australia. It got to number 50, got to number 16 in the UK, and 28 in Canada. So yes, they're definitely having more success in Canada than anywhere else. The next few singles would continue to chart, still doing better in Canada. Black Balloon got to number 3, while Broadway got to number 7. They also charted in the US. Black Balloon did get to number 76 in the UK. It didn't chart in Australia. While Broadway didn't chart in the UK, but it did get to number 66 in Australia. After that, they had Here Is Gone. It did get to the low teens in the US, number 40 in Australia, 17 in New Zealand, and 100 in the UK. They wouldn't enter the top 20 again until 2005 when they made the Canadian top 20, making it to number 5 with Better Days. 'Cause I don't need boxes wrapped in strings and designer love and empty things, just a chance that maybe we'll find better days. So take these words and sing out loud. But after that country being very good to them over the years, that was their last single to chart in Canada. They've continued to record and tour, releasing new music right up until 2024, with probably new stuff coming soon, I'd imagine. I listened to a lot of it in the lead up to making this video, and, you know, there's some pretty good songs in there, but nothing that I'd say to rush out and hear. It's all sort of middle of the road, sort of not too rocky, not too soft kind of stuff. I guess you'd call it adult contemporary rock. Some would maybe call it dad rock. So yeah, it's okay. but nothing that's really going to set the world on fire, if you know what I mean. Nothing. I don't think they have any more music that would sort of you would say that it's going to change your life or anything like that. Not that I think Iris would change your life, but it might for someone, but not for me. So yeah, it's a good song, but other than that, I'd say you could take it or leave it kind of stuff. It's okay.
I wandered through fiction to look for the truth, buried beneath all the lies. And I stood at a distance to feel who you are, hiding myself in your eyes. Crowded room is full of empty faces. Deepest conversation full of lies. I always hoped that we would intersect, yeah. You need time to cope and time to heal. Time to cry if it's what you feel. Life can hurt when it gets too real. I can hold you up when it's hard to feel alive. Open up your eyes and you'll never lose yourself again. Go over and over again. While you're lost in the past, thinking what might have been. You're here and you're now, start it over and then take it over and over and over again. Always busy, but you look so bored. So tell me, what do you do? Well, the world won't easily forget you. And she smiled and said, yes, I think that's true. Turn my life into a hurricane. Kill the paranoia in my brain. 'Cause I want what you got and you got what I want. And I like you.
Now our next artists are not so much one-hit wonders as one-album wonders. Mel and Kim. Now they probably seem a bit out of place on a list of one-hit wonders, as they did have several singles, and I think most of them, if not all of them, charted. But they did only make one album, and it's an interesting enough story, so I thought it was worth covering. So Mel and Kim were sisters Mel and Kim Appleby. They were born to English and Jamaican parents, and in the mid-80s they started recording a few demos, some with Mel on her own and some as a group with the two. These got them signed to Supreme Records, and they were put in touch with Stock Aitken Waterman, who just had their first #1 hit with Dead or Alive's You Spin Me Round. And so their first single was released from their album FLM. It was Showing Out, brackets, Get Fresh at the Weekend. This got to #1 in Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands, Switzerland, and on the US dance charts, as well as getting to #3 in the UK, and #8 in New Zealand, and also #12 in Australia, 18 in France, and 78 on the US mainstream chart. So it was, still doing quite well, and certainly not bad for a debut single from an at that point unheard of artist. But what most fans didn't know at this point was that Mel was already a cancer survivor. She'd already had to have a cancer removed from her liver, and in the lead up to making of the video for what would become their biggest hit, Respectable, she was having some back problems, which actually delayed them making the video. But eventually she was well enough to make the video, and the song got to #1 in the UK, Australia, Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Switzerland, and on the US dance charts, as well as getting to #2 in Ireland and 14 in France. So they sort of thought maybe she'll be okay, but the back problems got worse during the tour, and then after some checkups, it turned out that the cancer had come back, this time attached to her spine. This was not the news that anyone would want. So with Mel in sort of critical condition, they couldn't really do much to promote the next single, which was the title track, FLM, and It still did okay as far as the charts went, but they did make a very dodgy-looking video with a couple of marionettes, as well as some live footage that both the sisters were not happy with, and even their management later said it was a mistake. But I think they wanted to try and get something out there to promote this single. But yes, it was probably a mistake, and it was sort of the beginning of the end as far as of their career went, as far as, successful. There was then a US-only single called I'm the One Who Really Loves You, which did get to number 11 in the US. And then there was a non-album single in 1988 called That's the Way It Is. And this time they don't appear in the video at all, apart from, some posters and things like that. It's mostly just a dance video. Unfortunately, Mel's cancer would prove too much for her. And despite a brave fight, she did die at only 23 in 1990. And this is really where the Mel and Kim story has to unfortunately end. It is sad when it happens like that, especially at such a young age. They had plans to make a second album, and whereas their first album was mostly written and produced by Stock Aitken Waterman, this time they were going to take more control of it and write all of the songs, and it was really going to be their album. And unfortunately, very tragically, it didn't happen.
I thought I'd go to the doctor, check it out. And they done an operation. It was about a 9-hour operation.
Major up.
Really?
And they said the lump was as big as a rugby ball. So,
Crumbs.
yeah. Then a year later, I started feeling really weak, tired all the time. And I thought, I shouldn't be feeling like this, I wasn't enjoying what I was doing because I wasn't well, So I went back to the doctors again. Then they told me that you're going to have to have treatment because you've got cancer in the bones, which is something that has to be dealt with chemotherapy.
But I think the thing is, Mel dealt with it better before when she had it when you was about 18, 19.
Yeah,
because that was just a simple
I didn't
operation.
Really know what it was all about.
But this time she had to have chemotherapy and she was told that her hair would fall out. And plus she was on steroids and they'd blow her up. And
so I really took that in,
Yeah, well, as somebody who's been a model and you're in show business, to lose your looks, which is what you must have felt happening to you, is an extra hurt, isn't it?
It was. I mean, it did hurt me, but I thought if I want to get better, this is what I have to go for. So I'm willing to take the consequences.
Was she really that strong all the time? She talks very strong now.
No, she is. She's very strong, and she surprised me. Because if anyone had said at the two of us, one of us was going to get the disease, I would say that I'd cope with it better.
Yeah, because she's the stronger.
She's the sensible one.
Well, I'll try to
be. You both are, all right.
Please then.
But she's coped marvellous. I mean, gosh. I'm surprised.
Because the other thing about cancer is that not only does it hit you, the victim,
it also
hits the family very badly,
exactly.
doesn't it?
In fact, sometimes the family take it.
I think so. I think the family sometimes go through it more than the patient. This time it was really, really serious.
And everybody had to pull together.
Yeah, I knew that there was something. And, the family was drifting as well. This was really brought the family back together.
Yeah. Was there an extra problem in that you were famous this time?
Yeah, there was a bit of a hassle because press were, hassling me. They wanted a story and all that.
Which is fine, but you don't
but
really
not
want
at that time.
I mean, Mel was really depressed. The family was really down. And the fact that, they want a story, which is fine, but wait until Mel gets better, then she speaks. Mel was in no condition to speak to anyone. Mm-hmm. She wasn't even speaking to me in the beginning, and then towards the end we started to, in the middle there, we started to speak and it helped to talk about it. It helped to get it out.
It really helps to talk about it.
And now what about the future then? Now you are talking about it and you're helping other people. Yeah, what's the future for you, record-wise?
Well, we want to record again. Definitely want to do another album. We ain't coming out this year.
You've got enough energy, have you?
Yeah.
We're writing our own stuff.
We're writing our own stuff, so that's really exciting.
We've got a little studio at home, so, we keep occupied. It's great. Don't really miss the career so much. The fact that Mel's back and Mel's looking great is enough. For me,
that's the important thing in life.
That's important. I mean, whether we have the career again, it's just not important.
Well, we will have the career.
But, we will. I mean,
we're working towards it. We're just lying
back. She's the leader on that. But the fact that Mel's getting better is just great. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Some of the songs they wrote together didn't go to waste, though, as Kim would release a solo album in 1990. The first single was called Don't Worry.
Now he's gone, left you for another. You're not the first, you now discover. Don't you cry, you'll get by, you'll be back on your feet. In no time, you'll be fine.
did actually get to number 2 in the UK and Belgium, as well as getting to number 3 in the Netherlands, number 5 in Ireland, and number 6 in Switzerland, number 9 in Austria, number 12 in Sweden, number 35 in France, and number 119 in Australia. So there was still some success there, but obviously with just the one of them, it was never going to quite have that same magic to it. But these songs I did have a listen, and they're still pretty good. The follow-up, GLAD, that didn't do as well. It still charted in a lot of places. And it was just kind of diminishing returns from there.
Looking back on yesterday, seeing how it used to be. Oh, I remember all the fun and games we played as one big family. Yeah, I remember. Oh yes, I'm leaving now. I've had enough. I'm tired of you going strutting all of your stuff. I know that you've been seeing her next door. Don't tell me, baby, 'cause I heard it all before. I desire, I keep looking, searching for the light of the world.
After releasing 2 albums as a solo artist, she decided to concentrate on being a songwriter, doing work for a lot of other acts, spending some time in Sweden, and she would also work closely with the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors. She also chaired the Ivor Novello Awards judge panel for Best Contemporary Song for over 10 years, so that's pretty cool. And then in 2007, she decided to return to performing and recording original music. And in 2018, she would start performing live again. Also in 2018, she would team up with Midger to present the 3-part BBC series Smashing Hits, the 80s pop map of Britain and Ireland. Now, if Mel hadn't died, who knows where they could have gone next. But Kim seems to be doing okay for herself, and I actually thought it might be cool if she teamed up with Fab from Milli Vanilli. They're sort of two great singers that could maybe sort of team up, both sort of stars of the same era. Fab has been, going out proving that he can actually sing, because the whole Milli Vanilli scandal, which we won't get into here, but if you see the movie Girl, You Know It's True, that kind of tells you the whole thing. And that's one of the greatest music biopics that I've ever seen, personally. I would highly recommend that. So yes, they've both lost their other half as far as their team goes, so I think it would be an interesting collaboration. It's a similar kind of music, so I think that it would work. That's just me personally. As for Respectable, I'm giving it 4 out of 4 opposable thumbs up. As for the rest of their stuff, it's good for what it is. Not really my cup of tea, but still, yes, fun pop music. Ooh, did someone mention tea? Not now, BG Tips, maybe later. Okay. Our next artist is Jona Lewie, who, and if you're in the UK, you'll know him for his hits You'll Always Find Me in the Kitchen at Parties and Stop the Cavalry. Or if you're from Australia, you'll know him for his hits Stop the Cavalry and Louise. Now, Jona Lewie's real name is John Lewis, but he changed it to Jona Lewie to avoid being confused with the department store and a jazz musician. He actually started performing while he was still at school. He was in the Johnson City Jazz Band, initially just as a singer, and in 1969 he started to do some work as a singer, songwriter and composer, working for various different artists and also releasing stuff just under his name of John Lewis. He would then join Brett Marvin and the Thunderbolts, who would release a few singles under the name Pterodactyl and the Dinosaurs. They had a few minor hits, and then Lewie left the band for a solo career.
It's a warm day, the sun is shining, summer wonderland. and say, let's go to Brighton, so we all get upon our friend's car. Hold on tight, cause we're doing 90 miles per hour. We left to London, where it's hot. We're heading for our favourite spot, down on the coast, way past the town of Crawley, where the breeze blows and the air tastes of the sea. Everybody grooving, everybody popping, everybody moving on a Saturday night. Everybody rocking, everybody reading, everybody jiggling on a Saturday night.
His first single, Cherry Ring, came out in 1976 and didn't chart.
I want that cherry ring. I want that cherry ring. I want that cherry ring. I want to do my thing. I want to do my thing.
Nor did the next three singles, The Baby, She's on the Sheets, Hallelujah Europa,
From the green grass of the Irish domain to the Swiss Alps of white snow and pure rain, and then it's off to the softness of Spain.
and God Bless Whoever Made You.
If I could have anybody, you're the one I choose. Line up the cream of the crop and it will have to be you. God bless whoever made you, 'cause he really done his stuff for making me fall so much in love.
But it was then in 1980 that he would have his first big breakthrough as a solo artist, with You'll Always Find Me in the Kitchen at Parties.
I'm no good at chatting up and I always get rebuffed. Enough to tell the man to drink, I don't do no washing up. I always leave the stuff piled up in the sink.
But you will always find him in the kitchen at parties.
Me and my girlfriend, we argued and she ran away from home. She must have found somebody new and now I'm all alone, living on my own. What am I supposed to do?
That's why you'll always find him in the kitchen at parties. You will always find him in the kitchen at parties.
Now this song would make it to number 3 in New Zealand, number 5 in Austria, number 7 in Sweden, number 16 in the UK, number 21 in Australia, number 22 in Belgium, number 23 in Germany, and number 30 in the Netherlands. And it's very sort of, laid back, slow, cool sounding song. I think it's a little bit tongue in cheek too, and it's a lot of fun. I'm going to give it 4 out of 4 opposable thumbs up. His next single, Big Shot Momentarily, would only chart in Germany at number 73.
If they need them, wanna be taken to your seat, you better consider. If you want to sell and wanna be awfully swell and wanna be accurate, so tell where you'll be bigger.
But then he would release his biggest worldwide hit, which was Stop the Cavalry.
that is when I say, oh yes, yet again, can you stop the cavalry? Mary Bradley waits at home in the nuclear fallout zone. Wish I could be dancing now in the arms of the girl I love. Wish I was at home for Christmas.
Now Stop the Cavalry is his highest charting UK single, getting to number 3. It actually made it to number 1 in Austria and France, number 2 in Germany and Australia, as well as getting to number 3 in New Zealand, number 4 in Switzerland, number 5 in Belgium, number 6 in the Netherlands, and number 13 in Sweden. And this is certainly a unique song, kind of a folk tale of sort of war times, and it has a brass band in it. It's pretty cool. I don't like it as much as the other songs, so I'm only going to give it 3 out of 4 opposable thumbs. Still a great song, but yeah, not as good as the others, in my opinion. Now his next single is actually the one that got my attention in the first place. This was his number 2 hit in Australia. Not just that it got to number 2, but it was his second song to get to number 2. Louise, brackets, We Get It Right.
Oh, you never keep me waiting. Never need for complaining. You got a lot of understanding. Oh, babe, you are amazing. And I like you a lot, 'cause you do not make me run. And you're the best I've ever had, 'cause you take me as I come.
This is a slightly electronic, kind of disco-ish, but mostly boogie rock sounding song. Good sort of pop song about, it's just a general love song really, about someone called Louise.
You're the one I like, 'cause we get it right. Louise, I love you, Louise, Louise, I love you, Lola. We get it right. Get it all night.
And I'm going to give this one 4 out of 4. I just think it's a very catchy song, and it's a lot of fun, and I really like the video. But it didn't chart in the UK, and it didn't chart as high as Stop the Cavalry in other countries, so what do I know? But it did get to 14 in Austria, 22 in Belgium, 24 in New Zealand, 27 in France, and 30 in Germany. His follow-up single to that was Shaggy Raggy, which didn't chart anywhere, and I can see why.
Shaggy Raggy, Shaggy Raggy, Shaggy Raggy is me.
This was followed up by Rearranging the Deck Chairs on the Titanic, which is a kind of an acoustic guitar piece. It's nice for what it is, but I don't think it's a great song. It's nice for what it is, but it's not really something you'd release as a single. It sort of feels like something that would be perfect for the soundtrack to the movie Titanic. He then had another low-charting single in Australia. This got to number 71. It's called I Think I'll Get My Hair Cut.
I wish a girl would invite me to dance, but I suppose I don't stand a chance. They prefer to dance with their own handbags. I think I feel a little bit sad, but I think I'll get my hair cut.
And this sort of tells the tale of this guy who thinks he can't get a girl because he hasn't got the right haircut. So it's but more of an amusing song, really. I don't think he was taking himself too seriously. I'm not sure he ever really did, but this is definitely a bit more in the sort of comedic vein, I think. And it's okay for what it is, but yeah, moving on. Now, the next song, if I just heard the song, I would say, I don't know why this wasn't a hit, but it actually didn't chart anywhere, but it's incredibly catchy. But then I saw the video and I thought,
Come and detonate me, love detonator. Won't you detonate me, love detonator? I want explosions, I want explosions. Come and detonate me, love detonator.
I had a quiet life before I met you.
yes, I can see where this might have rubbed a few people up the wrong way.
Dynamite, dynamite. Dynamite, dynamite. She's dynamite.
But it's a very catchy song, and I really like the song a lot. And the video is fun if you can kind of get past the... He doesn't quite black up for it, but dressing up as an Arab and pretending to blow things up is not great. It's, yeah, it's kind of a cringy video now, and even then, really. But,
Dynamite is alright if it gives us both happiness. Then again, it is bad if we blow up our love with it. You came into my life, exploded in my consciousness. And it's true when they say love can be dangerous.
and that was his last release of a new single. He did release 2 more singles, but that were just reissues of previous singles. He did take a bit of a break from releasing new music, but he's never really gone away. He's sort of been on the live scene and doing some TV work. But he didn't release another album until 1993's Optimistic, and then he didn't release another one until 2024's Are You Free Tuesday.
Are you free Tuesday?
But he's still, very respected in England, and sort of shows up occasionally on things, and, has worked with all kinds of different people, and just shows up in strange places wherever he feels like it, I think. So, yeah, very talented guy. He had a few other songs that I think really could have, made big hits, but it just didn't happen for him. But, he seems like he's a happy enough guy, so, yeah, moving on. And now we're going to talk about a Scottish singer-songwriter, who was actually kind of a one-hit wonder twice over. Once as a member of Steelers Wheel, and once, of course, as Gerry Rafferty. And while Gerry Rafferty did have a few hits in England, for most of the world he pretty much is known for just the 2 songs. Steelers Wheel obviously was Stuck in the Middle with You, and as a solo artist, Baker Street. While he did have a few more hits in the UK, and even in the US, I'd say most people think of him as kind of a one-hit wonder, at least outside of those countries. And it's a shame, because he was a very talented guy with a very interesting career. He started off with the band The Humble Bums, which was him and Billy Connolly.
Shoeshine boy, he's making his money working downtown on Main Street. Shoeshine boy, I know it ain't funny, cleaning everything on 2 feet. Get down upon your knees and brush your blues away. It won't be long till Saturday night, and you'll be dancing with your lady till the break of day.
And Billy Connolly obviously went on to become Billy Connolly.
Went to the movies and the movie broke down. The picture on the screen was going around. Spent all I had getting in to see the show. So I walked up to the man and said I'd like to go. Can I have my money back, money back, money back? Can I have my money back, please, sir? I don't hear what you're saying, don't care what you're doing. Can I have my money back, money back, money back? Can I have my money back, please, sir?
Now, while Gerry Rafferty's appearance in videos and his general demeanour would and even his music kind of gives you the idea he's kind of a laid-back kind of guy. According to Billy Connolly, he was actually very funny. In fact, we have a few clips of him talking about Gerry.
We smoked the Bible once.
You and Gerry Rafferty smoked the Bible.
Well, it was the 60s, and...
The 60s doesn't just explain everything.
But in those days, you did these sort of folk clubs, and they would say the fee It'd be X amount of money plus accommodation. Well, that meant the couch or the floor or something.
Right.
So we're in this guy's house and we were all drunk. And I had some hashish. Goodness knows how it got in my pocket. Pakistani black hashish. You're ducking under low bridges with this stuff. And I got it out towards the end of the night and I said, anybody get any papers? Or skins, as we used to say, as cooler guys. And nobody had any papers. And I said, well, I saw a movie once, and it was a prison movie, and they were smoking the Bible. Apparently,
using the paper, yeah.
If you get a page of the Bible, you can get a reasonable cigarette paper. So the guy who owned the house was up in his bed, drunk. And I was kind of drunk as well. I went into the room and I said, you wouldn't happen to have a Bible, would you? He says, yes, I've got a Bible. I said, you want it? I said, I just want a couple of pages. He said, yes, certainly, any particular page. I said, no, I mean, I said, there you go.
Gerry Rafferty, the singer-songwriter, he is an expert on the telephone. He used to make me scream. We were in a band, you know, and he would phone people, total strangers. So he goes over to the phone and he's thumbing through it, the book, you know. I'm having a look at him, and next thing he's phoning his friend. Joseph Johnson. So, with a bit of luck, the person lifts the phone and he goes, hello. Gerry goes, how you doing? The person at the other end goes, is that you, Willie Ferguson? Yes, he says. Without missing a beat, certainly it's me. You bastard. Ah, what's wrong with you, he says. You said you'd be here to sweep my chimney at 3 o'clock. We waited all day. I've had time off work. He says, I'm sorry, Joseph. What can I tell you? You'll never believe this, he says. New government regulations. I'm sitting here and this happened. New government, the guy's bewildered. Who the fuck, what? Took me by surprise myself. Tell me, do you have a safety net at home? What? I don't have one myself, and the government has said we need a safety net in case we fall off the roof while we're doing your chimney. Oh, aye. I don't know. I've not got a fucking safety net. What would I be doing with a fucking safety net? Well, if you get likes of blankets or sheets or that, I've got a few of them. Put them in the garden. We'll make a safety. Do you have any scaffolding there? What? The fuck? What would I be doing with scaffolding? We need scaffolding. Safety measured by the government's new regulation. I can't leave the office without guaranteeing. Jenny, could you get some furniture out of the house? Maybe we could step up on it like that. Chair on top of a sideboard. We could get away with that, call it scaffolding, sheets and blankets and that. I think I could do that. He said, look, the other bit is I can't come alone. I have to have 4 other people. That's the new regulation. Right? He says, I could do you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, but I'll tell you what, the other regulation, the new one, is you have to provide breakfast. There's 5, nothing much, fried egg, bacon, sausage, you know the kind of thing, potato scones, maybe a couple of mushrooms, wee bit of black pudding there. All right there, Mr. Johnson, 5 breakfasts, furniture, few sheets and blankets. Oh, have you any ropes? We'll need some ropes. Washing line, that'll do. Have it all ready, 5 breakfasts. We'll be there at 10, no problem, okay? You'll mind you that I'll be there with my men. You trust me? Certainly. All the best, Joe. Hi, see you later. Fucking Ferguson, where the fuck's Ferguson? Ferguson, chimney sweep, the fucking got you. Hello. Hello, hi, hey! Is that you, Ferguson? Hi. Where the fuck were you? What are you talking about? This is Joe Johnson. You promised 3 o'clock on the day off fucking work. I can't have seen my diary's fucking. I've got it up to here. I can't cope with it. Well, look, I've asked for some time off tomorrow morning. 10, could you be here at 10? You be here at 10. And I'll see you there. Aye, fine. Cheerio. Oh, fuck.
And Gerry Rafferty would go on to start Steelers Wheel. Now, Steelers Wheel would form in 1972 in Paisley in Scotland, and it would mostly consist of Gerry Rafferty and Joe Egan, along with a few other members that sort of were kind of a revolving door. They released their debut self-titled album in 1972, which made it to number 25 in Canada, 44 in Australia, and 50 in the US. The following year, they released their debut single, Stuck in the Middle with You. That's the song that put them on the map.
Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got the feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall off my chair. And I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Yes, I'm stuck in the middle with you.
This charted highest in Canada at number 2. In the US, it got to number 6. In the UK, it got to number 8. And in Australia, it got to 16. Now, for many people, this song is associated with a certain film that I didn't think is very good. But it's very popular, so Reservoir Dogs has a scene in that where a guy gets his ear chopped off to the sound of this song. Which I don't think really works, because I guess that's the whole point of it. It's this odd sort of thing of this very laid-back song while this guy gets his ear chopped off. I'm not sure what Gerry Rafferty thought of that, but yeah. The song is about a music industry cocktail party, and sort of done in a kind of Bob Dylan style. He's kind of doing an impression, Gerry Rafferty's kind of doing it as an impression of Bob Dylan. And according to the very reliable source that is Wikipedia, certain people did actually mistake it for a Bob Dylan song. I can't say as I could really see that. I guess you can sort of hear there's definitely a Bob Dylan influence in there, and it is definitely a parody of his style. But at the same time, I don't know if you'd really compare. I don't know if it would be that easy to confuse the two. I guess if you're just hearing it on the radio and without any other context, you might sort of think, oh, that could be Bob Dylan. But yeah, it's a great song, one of the greatest songs ever written. So I'm going to give it Enough Blood. Their next single was called Everything Will Turn Out Fine, or in Australia, the US and Canada, Everyone's Agreed That Everything Will Turn Out Fine, which is a bloody long title for a song, and it didn't do anywhere near as well. It still charted highest in Canada, of all places, where it got to number 25. It got to number 33 in the UK, 49 in the US, and 90 in Australia. It's fine for what it is, typical sort of folky duo song, nothing too special. And I could kind of say the same about the rest of the stuff of theirs that I've heard. The next single was called Star, again charting highest in Canada, getting to number 12, 25 in the UK, 29 in the USA, and 67 in Australia.
So they made you a star. Now your head's in a cloud. And you're walking down the street with your feet off the ground. They read in the press all about your success. They believe every word they've been told. After all you've been through, tell me what will you do when you find yourself out in the cold? Ah, tell me. Ah, tell me.
Now, they released 2 more singles, but they didn't chart.
Looking like a lot of shit. Said I've been using you. You got what you wanted, and that's alright. But you had to please yourself, right or wrong.
His first post-Steelers Wheel solo album was called City to City, and the debut single from that was the title track, City to City.
So good night, yeah, good night. Good night, train is gonna carry me home. So good night, yeah, good night. Good night, train is gonna carry me home.
This got to number 20 in Belgium, number 23 in the Netherlands, and 87 in Australia. But then he released the other song that you all know, Baker Street.
A myth has prevailed that the saxophone player actually wrote the line and was not given the full credit.
I bet you anything you like, Gerry wrote every note of that solo, because that's what he was like.
It was in the early demos where he played it on a little electric guitar himself.
Winding your way down on Baker Street, lighting your head and dead on your feet. Well, another crazy day. Dream the night away and forget about everything.
And this song would get to number 1 in Australia, number 2 in Switzerland and the USA, number 3 in the UK and Germany, number 4 in Austria and on the US adult contemporary charts, and also in New Zealand, number 9 in Belgium, and number 16 in the Netherlands.
Used to think that it was so easy. You used to say that it was so easy. But you're trying now.
Now this song is amazing. You cannot really use any other word to describe it. I just think it's absolutely brilliant, and it's going to get the Muff Board.
When you wake up, it's a new morning. The sun is shining, it's a new morning. You're going
The next single, Right Down the Line, was still good, but not, I don't think, anywhere near as special. It did still chart, including getting to number 1 on the US adult contemporary charts. But, yeah, otherwise it charted in a few other places, the highest being number 12 on the US Billboard charts. He would release a few more singles from that album. Home and Dry did chart in the US, but that was about it. The next 2 didn't chart at all. And then he moved on to promoting the next album, again using the title track, Night Owl. Now, Gerry Rafferty did unfortunately have a pretty bad alcohol problem, and this song is basically about that. It wasn't released in the US, but it did make its number 5 in the UK and 64 in Australia. And I actually think that of all of his solo songs, this is probably my second or third favourite. I think this is a really good song. I'd probably give it 4 out of 4 opposable thumbs up.
Yes, I get a little lonely when the sun gets low, and I end up looking for somewhere to go. Yes, I should know better, but I can't say no. Oh no, 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 no.
This was followed by Days Gone Down. This was a minor hit in the US, making it to number 17.
Yes, you walked right into my life, and we were on our way, yeah. So long ago, but it feels like yesterday. And I just wanna tell you, you still got that light in your eye. Yes, you do.
Then the next one was, we were saying about Night Owl being my second or third of his favourite. This is the one that it's fighting with. This is called Get It Right Next Time.
Out on the street, I was talking to a man. He said there's so much, but there's nothing, man, that I don't understand. You shouldn't worry, I said that ain't no crime. 'Cause if you get it wrong, you'll get it right next time.
This did make it to 30 in the UK, to 90 in Australia, to 21 on the US Billboard chart, and 15 on the US Adult Contemporary charts.
That was a liar, yeah, life is a cheat. It'll lead you on and pull the ground from underneath your feet. No use complaining, don't you worry, don't you whine. 'Cause if you get it wrong, you'll get it right next time.
His next few releases didn't do as well. Apparently he didn't like playing live, so that kind of made it difficult to promote these things. You can probably tell by the fact that the music videos have all been pretty much just shot in the studio, so yeah, I can't really see him as... And he didn't seem to do a lot of television stuff either. He just sort of... I think he just liked making music, and...
Whatever's written in your heart, that's all that matters.
And eventually he just got fed up with the whole system of going into the studio and all of that. And by the end of the 90s, he had his own sort of digi-designed mobile recording studio that he would just sort of take everywhere, so he could just record wherever he was and just do things his own way.
I was lost on an endless sea, going down, going down, going down on an endless sea. Still with the wind, you weather the storm, you bring it all home, bring it all home, you bring it all home.
He didn't seem to have a lot of commercial success around this time, but he would seem to be making the music he wanted to make. He had sung on the Local Hero soundtrack by Mark Knopfler in 1983, and also decided to take some time off around that, just to spend some time with his family. And that's when he really decided he wanted to do things at his own pace. And so, yeah, he just kind of slowed down, really, and just did what he wanted to do. From that point on, he just sort of recorded from home at his own studio with his producer, whose surname was actually Murphy. So if it is Hugh Murphy, I don't think he's a relation of any of mine, but you never know. I don't think he was a gorilla, though, so it's unlikely. And together they also produced the Proclaimers' first UK hit single, Letter from America.
Hello there. Welcome to the Garden of England. My name is Gerry Rafferty, and you listen to my single, which is called Don't Give Up on Me, taken from my new album, On a Wing and a Prayer. I'm particularly pleased that the album has been so warmly received amongst my new friends at Polygrams. I look forward to continued good relations with everyone responsible for its promotion.
His next album, Another World, was recorded between London, Scotland, Barbados, France and Italy, with various collaborators that he'd worked with before, and yeah, that was just kind of the way he would continue to do things from then on.
I walk along the street and wonder what to do. I'd like to ease the pain of my troubled brain, but as to how, I haven't a clue. Should I shout at the people who pass me by? Hey folks, look at me, I'm no ordinary guy. I had a love and she swore she was mine, and she only loved me when the weather was fine.
Interestingly, Another World was originally only available via his website, which is, kind of not that unusual now, but in 2000 that was fairly unusual. Quite a lot of the recordings he did at this time were not released during his lifetime, and in fact, a new album was released only in 2021, called Rest in Blue. And this was sort of just a collection of various demos that he'd recorded before he died. Sadly, in 2010, he was admitted to the Royal Bournemouth Hospital and put on a life support machine to be treated for multiple organ failure. After being taken off of life support, he did recover for a short time, and his doctors initially thought that he might pull through. Unfortunately, he died of liver failure at the home of his daughter Martha in Stroud on the 4th of January 2011, at the age of 63. Now, while he did only really have those two massive hits, as well as a few other minor hits, he's certainly very well regarded as a songwriter and singer, and I think that more people should give his other songs more of a chance. I think that the fact that he didn't tour probably didn't help, and the fact that he just didn't really like the performance aspect. He just wanted to be in the studio and making music. And, that's fine. Some artists just prefer to do things that way, and maybe if he were around now, he'd be doing very well as a sort of a SoundCloud artist, or doing stuff on YouTube or on Bandcamp. Just where he would have that control to have the freedom to perform if he wanted to, but essentially just do whatever he wanted. In many ways, it sort of feels like perhaps he was born in the wrong time, and maybe he'd be better off now. Nevertheless, he is a legend as a songwriter, and yeah, go check out some more of his stuff. Murphy, you're getting very sweaty. No, I'm urinating.